That sounds good.
I know, right? You what? Don't still I would never go
Since you missed the last. Did everyone sign in who's here? If anyone wants to speak, whether they speak or not. Meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Orr?
Here.
Ms. Cook? Here. Mrs. Eisenhart?
Here.
Ms. Falcone?
Here.
I'm here. Ms. Palmer?
Yes. Mr. Steffler? And Mayor Miller is absent. And there are, I don't think there are any minutes to be approved.
So we have no minutes to approve today, we're working on those. I'd like to welcome Bernadine, our new part-time administrator, who's here to take our minutes today, the notes.
Okay.
And we'll start with communications. So, the senior organization, is anyone here?
I have
Do you have their, could you read that, please?
We received a thank you from the Topton area senior citizens. It says the Topton area senior citizens would like to thank you personally for the Topton Community Days that July 10th at the Legion. Good food and enjoy playing bingo with prizes. We look forward to this every year. Thanks again, and they have a smiley face on it.
Thank you. We also should thank Ludwig's for
Yes.
their donation contribution to make that happen. There's a request to use the Borough Hall meeting room on September the 17th. From Ethan, is Ethan here? Not yet? Okay. Do you want to discuss that?
Let's briefly discuss it, and if Ethan comes in, he can certainly, plead his case for it. Oh, he's not, okay.
Oh,
Okay. Here's my thought on it, and I don't really know the borough's past practice. If the borough has let other similar community organizations in to have their meetings in the meeting room, then I believe that it shouldn't be excluded because it's a political message or it's or what is discussed. I would want to see the kind of content-based determination. But if the borough in the past has not made a practice of allowing outside groups to use the borough hall for meetings, then most likely you should not make an exception in this case. I know that there is no written policy about it, but I think you have to go on what your practice has been in the past. And if the practice has been to allow outside groups, you would allow this subject to whatever your policies are on outside groups, such as any kind of a fee or deposit, conditions on not serving food, keep the place clean, clean up afterwards, and return the key. The same policies would apply. If there's been a practice of not allowing outside groups, then again, I would say that you would not have it in this case either.
Stacy's indicated that we have not allowed outside organizations, anything affiliated and associated with the borough or borough activities specifically that use this for. And I know that many organizations are welcome and always have used the middle school auditorium, sometimes the high school auditorium, although that's not usually reserved too often by the public, and the Legion. And sometimes the Grange, there are meetings there that they've allowed organizations to do, so maybe we should have this,
Baseball and softball to have the meetings here.
that they're associated with the borough.
And they use the field too.
I used it for our show. That's not a borough event.
Well, it's
It's not a borough
affiliate.
event.
I know, it's an associated, we're
The borough
preparing.
has nothing to do with the car show. And I used it for the car show.
In what way did you use this room for the car show? I think the answer.
I mean, to prepare.
You need to prepare for the car show, okay? And what organization runs the car show?
Me and Tom Goldcliff.
It's just personal, it's residents that run it, yeah, it's personal.
Right. If there are examples of outside organizations that get to use this room for meetings, organizational type meetings. Again, it's an equal access issue, and you need to allow it. Now, I know that the borough has some policies about use of borough facilities, and he would have to, as the responsible party, I'm assuming he would be the responsible party, follow those same policies. Is there an actual, I saw a flyer, but I didn't see an organization named, is there an organization?
It's just a person, just a
The
resident.
president wants to, wants people to get together, I'm not sure what the purpose is, it didn't really.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, you have that? Okay.
I saw it.
It's in your packet.
I saw this side, but I didn't saw this other side.
I saw a flyer, and I saw the request itself. He wants to invite residents to talk about Pennsylvania local government and how it functions.
I did see something of an itinerary possibly on Facebook, because I was kind of leery with it, because, you know, politics and religion are two very personal items to everybody. What I saw, what he explained, what he wants to discuss, it actually sounds more like it is going to help the council.
Yeah, the bridging the gap is, it says discussion around form and function of borough government, large issues facing the borough, budgetary confirmed, how to get and stay informed and involved in a question and answer session on September 17th. These are, you know, topic discussion like this is very much, just like discussion of religion, other sensitive topics, these, it's very much protected by the First Amendment. So I would not keep this out because the topics have some political content. That's not a reason to keep it out. The analysis to me is, I mean, this is obviously discussion of a peaceful nature. There's nothing concerning that way. The only question is, are other outside groups allowed not to use the borough property, but specifically the meeting room for their meetings? And you've given me a couple of examples. Do you know of others?
Stacy said no.
No, she said we really don't normally do that, and we do have other facilities for that as well.
I do remember one time there was a fundraiser where we made sandwiches. It was with the Radcliffe family. The one son was battling cancer, and we did a fundraiser. We made the sandwiches in here. That's the only other thing that I remember doing that from the borough.
So nothing controversial about that. No potential whatsoever.
But it doesn't matter whether there's a potential for controversy. Again, these are topics that are completely protected by the First Amendment. We can't go say, well, this has political content and we want to allow it in here. There's nothing that gives the appearance of any kind of a partisan gathering. There's nothing here that suggests any kind of violence in the gathering or suggestion of it. I mean, that's really the analysis. I mean, is it going to be a peaceful gathering? Is it going to be a lawful gathering? It's not a matter of what's being discussed. The issue is whether this room is open up to other organizations or not. That's the way council needs to look at it and make their decision on this request. That's really all you can consider, whether what has been described is sufficient to say we allow other outside organizations to have meetings here. I've given a couple of examples. You have to decide whether that's sufficient, whether this is open, realizing that if you open it up to one, you open it up to all. And, you know, sometimes First Amendment protected speech is not of a nature that you would want in your borough hall. I think we can all, without naming names, I think we can all think of organizations we might not want here that are legal but offensive.
One question, so the other ones have been meetings for a purpose, like for an event or something. This is the event, so do we have, everybody in the borough is invited to this event, the size of the room is only so big? I mean, not that I'm saying that it's like the biggest thing that's happening in Topton, all 2,000 people will show up, but is there a way that we know that only the right amount of people are
Well,
attending?
I mean, the fact is that the fire marshal sets the occupancy for the room. Once the room is full, nobody else can come in. I mean, that's content neutral. There's only a certain number of chairs, and that's, that's that. And I mean, after all, borough council meetings, everyone in the borough and all the media are invited, and we don't usually have a full room.
Right.
In the past, we did have a borough meeting with very high interest. And someone was posted as security at the door. And because there was a huge crowd outside and there was some nastiness, and there was one person who came and just pushed past the room in and kept really much capacity in. So I don't know, I guess it would be required if he wants to do it here, that he is providing for that and cutting off when we get that.
Well, I think that's a reasonable rule that that once the occupancy limit is reached, and Stacy will know what that occupancy limit is, once that's reached, then the event has to be closed off. You can't violate, fire regulations.
Another option may be that maybe we should establish a policy for this moving forward and basically not do anything until we have a policy in place, because do we get a deposit, what do we do if there's damage, or, and this is really here for us to meet and do our business. Just a thought.
Well, I mean, again, the issue is if there are other organizations that have met here without a policy in place, you can't say you can't. That's really the issue.
Do the other organizations sign a waiver or anything?
There is a waiver that Stacy has,
It's on the policy, so there's no backside.
no, I don't have it, here it is. Yeah, I have it. And yes, there is a waiver that has been prepared. It's based on, looking at it, I recognize it as something that I prepared a few years ago. So we would require the signing of a waiver and release, and also we would require that, again, that the room be cleaned up afterwards, chairs returned to their place, and keys returned. And I do have a sample policy for use of municipal buildings that I did some research on this when the issue came up. So I do have a sample policy that I provided to Stacy last Tuesday.
So every free day that we're not in here, somebody wants to use it, they can. I mean, what's the limitation there?
Well, it has to be in keeping with the schedule of the borough.
We're opening the door for an individual to say, I want to come in and speak about whatever. Pick a hot topic in your own mind. They want to come and promote that topic.
What I would suggest at this point is you make a motion, put it into a vote, and make a decision on that.
I did like what Julie said about the others were preparing for events, and this is the event itself. And since the whole community is being invited, it does seem the room size is small. So,
There are other venues.
yeah, I'll make a motion that we deny this request.
Is there a second? discuss it, any discussion, discuss it.
So this doesn't set a precedent, right, but we can, after this, do the document that you're saying.
We can, right, we can adopt a policy, but it's not going to be a content-based policy.
Yeah.
I thought you just said we've already allowed it.
No, but you can have a policy though, neutral, content neutral, there that you can't, I mean, for example, you can't, no serving of food and beverages. Each group using the facility should be financially responsible for damage and rules like that. I have as I said, I have a separate policy.
But it won't change, saying yes now won't change whatever is in that policy, correct?
That wouldn't change whatever is in the policy, and the policy would be one adopted by council. So is there a second to the motion? It hasn't been seconded in a reasonable amount of time, so I believe
So
it
I'll make a,
died. That I think the motion died, unless you want to second the motion dies for lack of a second.
and that would be what?
We'll maybe wait for either, there will be another motion. Is there another motion on this?
I'll make a motion to amend the music.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll make a second.
You're gonna second. Is there any further discussions? Is there any further discussion? We've pretty well discussed it, but if you need to discuss it further, that's fine.
I would like to see how this first meeting would go. And then decide later on if he is planning on a second meeting, how many people showed up for the first one. And go from there, allow it this one time.
Well, and the thing is, it opens it up further to other organizations, and you have to be aware that just like allowing the car show to be here seems to have opened the door
Right.
for consideration of this
But
request.
the borough was involved with that, even though we had the car show. It was because of us that the car show.
It was a big event.
Yeah, every year.
Yeah.
And for the car show, a few years ago, I don't think we used it. Oh, maybe we did for one short meeting for the town.
Yeah, again, just understand that if you open it up to one, you open it up to others, but it already appears to have been, even though you can kind of distinguish it, appears to have been somewhat opened up. So, what I would suggest is that we have a motion and a second, we call the question, and that we go take a vote on it.
I'd like to just mention, we haven't had anything like this in this room, any usage. We've had preparation for things that are generally borough events. Radcliffe's has been very generous giving us food for our events, and so something was done for Taste with Cancer. That was an event we were preparing for. We haven't had X, Y, and Z person come in and sell their pampered chef, or do a pampered chef who knows what, anything they want. Talk about Hitler, talk about whoever, whatever. If we are allowing one person to come in and talk about whatever they want, then we open the door. And from that point on, you can't say no to them. That's a freedom of speech.
Is there any more discussion?
I'll just say, one sort of thing. The guy lives in the borough, pays taxes, he needs some business. And it's been open for our organizations to meet regardless of what they're for. It should be allowed. Regardless of, that's why you can say he has to live in the borough, which obviously he does. It says for borough residents, it can't be people coming from all over the place. It's supposed to be for borough residents.
We don't have a policy on that.
Yeah.
Well, that is like his rules and And we will adopt, I think,
Right on.
yeah, and we will adopt I think ultimately we will adopt a policy, on this that is very content neutral. As long as it's not advocating, as long as it's not advocating illegal activity.
It's a shame he's not here to answer any questions, that's,
Yeah, I don't really know what he's
you know,
talking
what
about.
his,
I saw his itinerary, I was watching it on Facebook, and people were asking what it was gonna be about, and it sounds like it's just gonna be, what the borough's going through.
He should be here to explain.
I mean, well, that's why we have borough council meetings, so
What
that
council
the
goes
residents.
through, the
come to
decisions
meetings.
that council is up against,
We could come to a
didn't
council meeting
sound,
and find that out.
it didn't sound like it was, when I think of political, it didn't
It sounds
sound.
more like a town hall meeting, which is something that I think we should have done at some point with everything that's going on in the town for the last 2 years, to talk to the residents so that they do know what we're up against. It's easy to go out there and get things secondhand, but when you're sitting in here and you know our financial status and everything else we're up against with the costs, I just,
I can say, every single one of us on this board is a resident, if you're concerned about it. You know exactly what you're talking about.
what he's, I plan to.
I wish he was here to,
It's allowed.
to
Yeah, he should have, if it's important, he should have been here. I mean, he's listed on the agenda
he was aware
to
of it.
discuss it.
We should argue.
If he wants to come in at our next virtual meeting and present something, we can vote it down to now.
Yeah, this is for September 17th. I did see on that, so maybe what we do, instead of voting it down at this point, is to table it until the next meeting. Advise him that we are tabling it, and,
I thought we were in a motion and a second to vote on it, so whether you did.
we can vote on it, or we can have the motion withdrawn and table it.
Do we have to, so is he gonna provide insurance when he signs this waiver, or is he gonna?
That's all the information we would need to hear from
Yeah,
him.
we need further information,
He's not going
and
to give us that. We probably should table it.
or if you would prefer to vote on the motion, you can do that. I mean, the motion's on the table, it's been moved, it's been seconded, it's been discussed. And there's nothing that stops it from being brought up again if you choose not to grant it at this time, or those who offered the motion and seconded it will withdraw it in favor of the motion to table, whichever is your preference.
And you must want John a second?
You can let it go through too, and then he has to come in here and sign this.
Yeah, and there's a
If
table
he
with
doesn't,
you.
if he isn't able to provide for this, then you can't.
Well, I mean, all we have here though is a waiver without more. It's just.
See, an organization has insurance and other things, so. It's different. We have to move on, guys, we've got a long agenda. So, do you want to table this, or do you want to?
I would say that we vote.
Okay, let's call for individual votes. So, if you don't read the names,
Yes, Mr. Hart,
Yes, to let him have it.
Ms. Cook,
No.
Mrs. Eisenhart,
No.
Ms. Falcone,
no.
I vote yes. Mrs. Palmer,
No.
Mr. Stucklet.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, it is 1, 2, 3 yeses and 4 noes.
All right, so the motion fails, and what I would suggest that manager do, inform Mr. Polinsky that the motion failed. It can be reconsidered at the September meeting. If he wishes to ask for a reconsideration, we would ask you to attend with additional information.
Okay, let's move on here to the mayor's report. The mayor cannot be here today, he has nothing to report. The police report.
July recap for Topton, 22 incidents, handled 1 crash, issued 9 traffic citations. There were 2 UCR reportable crimes reported, 24 vehicle stops conducted. There were 21 hours spent on follow-up, like criminal investigation follow-up, 6 court hours. And under significant activities, the chief has listed that there were 2 separate reports for disorderly conduct. The first one was a male who was walking and causing some sort of disturbance. That's what was reported. He was gone upon arrival. And then the second one was a female in a vehicle yelling obscenities at a resident. Basically, same thing with that one. The vehicle was gone upon arrival. Citation breakdown, 8 speeding citations, 1 for expired registration. Under personnel, part-time officer Joel Abrams is currently in training, he's doing well. And our other part-time officer, Steve Beckley, is due to return this week after having surgery. Under equipment, new firearms have been purchased and delivered. Training on the new firearms will be completed in the near future. And that is what he has listed.
I would, like to request going forward, I've requested in the past a couple of times, but I'd like it every single month's report to know what shifts were assigned to Topton.
Okay.
The day of the week and the hours that were assigned.
I was told that you guys are given our schedule, so.
We are, what I'm saying,
That you're given our schedule, so.
just the manager,
What's up?
just the manager.
Just the manager's given the schedule, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, I will clarify that then. So, you would like a copy of the schedule, or you just want the breakdown of shifts?
I'd like to know when we're being scheduled to have coverage.
Okay. Is that something that everyone wants, just so I can make it clear to the chief, so we know, like, it's just to be like sent to you then, is that right?
Is there anyone else that would like to?
Oh, no, I just wanna make sure that when I report back to him, that, because either he or Sergeant Folk will compile that, so I just wanna make sure that, like, whoever wants that information is getting it. So Carol, you're the only one who wants that information? Yes, okay. Sure.
Thanks, Angela.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there anything further? Angela?
Oh, no, that's all the chief has on this for today. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to hearing of visitors. Is there anyone that would like to speak on any topic? Mary Ellen, please stand up and please, if you could, I'm sorry, if you can't, and you can stay seated. Okay, state your full name and your address for the record. For those who are watching, so they can know. They can't see you. 112 North Main.
First of all, I don't know if you guys hear this often, or rarely, or never, but I just want to personally thank all of you for serving on this council. From mundane to big serious problems, you guys handle it, very professionally, and may not always agree on things, but appreciate it, so.
Thank you. Now you're gonna hit us with me. Buttering us up first. We are in negotiations, and that's where we're at. It's a two-sided street. I don't know if we're getting, every time we get a little bit different of it. And so just to let you, give you a little bit of information that I won't disclose anything confidential. When we talk about a contract that we're negotiating, I said this before the meeting, there are actually 88 to 90 line items in that contract. It's not 2 or 3 items here. And when one thing changes, it affects many, many financial lines to that. There may be 30 or more lines that have a financial impact to them. So if one term is changed that impacts us financially, we have to see what that consequence is of that change. So that takes time. And it's a two-way street here, so it's not just us on the one side. We're working with the union organization, and both of us are going back and forth, and it is a very slow process. You had asked last month, and you are correct. It is a very long, laborious process, unfortunately, and it is what it is.
I never took the change regarding the code 2 years. I said that before, and I know.
There's two sides.
I know.
Just so you know.
I agree with you.
So you would make a statement to say that you're ashamed of the other side as well? Okay, just wanted to make that.
No. There's 2 people, 2 sides that make the contract. You know,
I understand.
you know, that's all I'm saying. You know.
I agree with you that I think this is a very drawn out process. It shouldn't be taking this long.
And I don't think it should be priority 1. It should be priority 1.
Oh, it is priority one. It's very much priority one because we are basically on a freeze financially until we have a very significant amount of our budget that has to be contributed towards that contract, and we have additional employees, operating expenses, and things that have to be done here. So it is a very big financial impact. It is priority number 1. And every time there's a change, we analyze all of the financial data to see what the taxpayers are paying for. It's not our money. This is the money of the people of Topton, and it's our job to be responsible in the use of it and make sure we're being fair and reasonable to those involved. And we believe we are.
And it's go back to what I said earlier. You got big problems, you got some big problems.
That's very
There's
true.
so much money over there.
Please, Scott would like to.
I'm newer to the council, but I've been involved in unions for almost 30 years. As Scott is, and if you know, I mean, then you would know, this isn't an existing contract, it's not existing. So it's not like there's just a couple of items like, hey, you know, we want this and this is a brand new contract. And on average, it takes 18 to 24 months to accomplish this. So technically, we're right on track. If you go by that, I've been involved in contract negotiations with contracts that have been in place up to a year. So it does happen. So it is, unfortunately, a really sucky situation for both sides. But it takes time, and it's tricky. And again, if you've been involved in it in the past, then you understand where it's at. Patience, as hard as it is sometimes, needs to be.
Excuse me? Yes, I was. For one go around. That was a 4-year term. I will say this, we are currently in the starting process of our, looking at our budget. So now we're going to be reanalyzing our numbers again. So I would encourage everyone, if they can, to come to our budget meetings. And we're going to be working through, seeing where we're at financially and see, and the further we get, the better we'll know how much money we actually have to move forward with for that contract and for other things. But I need to move on, but thank you, Mary Ellen. Is there anything else from anyone else? Okay, I'd like to move on to the solicitor's report, if you could, please.
First item is 546 Celia Avenue. I've given the manager a form to refer the property to the county's blighted property review committee, which is a committee of the redevelopment authority that has the ability to declare a property blighted, and if there's no response from the property owner, certify it over to the county redevelopment authority. As I said, I've provided the form.
and would ask council for a motion to authorize the manager to complete and submit the form to the county blighted property review committee.
What does that entail on our part? Just her filling this out? What's our financial impact?
They would have to fill out the form. There would have to be reports given by the code official and the zoning officer of violations. Any liens against the property would be attached. I don't believe there's any kind of a filing fee.
In the past, when we had properties, this particular property, I want to just bring this up for discussion with you briefly. They were, basically, the utilities were shut off in this property. And so that made it condemned by virtue of just not having water and sewer service.
Condemned as far as being unfit for human habitation, but that doesn't mean it can be acquired as in that type of condemned. It means it can't be occupied.
I understand that, but how do you know it's not occupiable? Is that a word?
How do I know that it's not occupied?
I mean, it's not occupiable because there's no running water and sewer.
Right,
But that doesn't mean like it is falling down and,
with that, it doesn't have to be falling down to be considered blighted. To be considered blighted, a property has to meet several conditions out of, I believe there are 14 conditions in the county ordinance, and it includes being structurally unsound, but it doesn't have to be. It can be unsafe, unsanitary, it can be an attractive nuisance to children and those engaged in illegal activities. It can be, it can have be one where the utilities are shut off, where there's significant tax and municipal liens for services. This property appears to meet some of those criteria, and of course there hasn't been any type of a hearing on it. The blighted property review committee would give notice to the owners. It would issue a letter stating that it's been considered for the program. Then the next step would be if a determination hearing to determine whether the property meets the conditions of blight. After that, the next step, if the property owner doesn't do anything to reclaim the property and put it on the schedule of repairs and remediations, certify the property as blighted. The next step would be a resolution certifying the property with the redevelopment authority. There's due process at every step. The owner is given notice at every step. The county prefers that the owner rehabilitate the property. The county doesn't want to acquire properties. If the county acquires the property, the county would then do what it could to rehabilitate the property and sell it and get it in the hands of a responsible owner. That is the object of the redevelopment authority and the blighted property review committee.
are we still spending money on this property? I know, maybe that's a Stacy question.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's being done. I believe that there's still,
Like grants?
I think there may still be exterminator though. So I think that to take a step away from having to continually do that and start the process.
Can we relien it?
You can continue to own the property.
I thought we were further along than this. I thought the owner was agreeing to cooperate with us, is that changed?
She has been somewhat helpful, but the problem is there's more than one child.
We've already been compensated up to the point where we have a judgment that.
Right, there was a judgment and she.
So now we're starting to build all over again,
Right,
potentially?
and that's why the best way to stop this is to stop this and to get it into a program that might be able to get it off the books. And we can continue enforcement as well.
And will we continue to
And
get our money back?
You can continue liens, yes.
Okay.
You can still attempt to. So we'll need a motion for the manager to complete and submit the referral form to the county.
I'll make that motion, and I'll second that.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the matter? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Is there a personal interest?
No, personally, no.
Is there any business dealings?
No,
Okay, then I would say it's not reasonable to stay.
yes. So that's unanimous.
Okay, the next item is the meeting with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. We ran over that in response to Mariana's questions. The intermunicipal agreements for Luther Meadows and Heilman House. Our engineer and I had a call and went over these agreements. I made some revisions, gave them to Stacy to review. And also there are a couple of items that Charlie, I'll need you to fill in, you got my email on that. And we should have these ready next month, in advance of next month's meeting, and submitted to Long Swamp Township. Good news, the Commonwealth versus Zimmerman matter. After a hearing, Mr. Zimmerman was found guilty on the violations on failure to obtain permit for sidewalk replacement, and we received judgment. We received judgment in the amount of $500 plus costs.
What was the, how much the permit for it that was not applied for?
Charlie, do you know the amount? I don't remember. $250, okay.
I had some questions, because this is a legal matter, just something we could discuss in executive.
Yeah, we need to discuss it in executive session, it's just a question of the status. I mean, we are in the, I guess, in the appeal period.
That's what I was wondering, was there any attempt made to try to sever this?
Yes, there was, and it was not successful.
It was not successful. I guess I just see us spending your time, and that's, you know.
Right, no, we went in there, Mr. Zimmerman was there, we asked the judge to leave to go out and talk in the hallway, because we were last on the list anyway. We had several conversations with Mr. Zimmerman, we were not successful, we tried to resolve it, we were not successful in doing so, and we went forward with the hearing, and he was found guilty after the hearing. But he did have the opportunity to try to resolve it and didn't avail himself of that.
Do we have any idea of how much it would cost for us to move forward if this is appealed?
If it were appealed, that would be an appeal to the Pennsylvania Superior Court. Mr. Zimmerman was not represented at the hearing. To go to Superior Court would involve having to brief the case, submit a reproduced record, and he probably would get a lawyer to do so. It's rare that someone who is not in prison appeals to the Superior Court per se. So it's unlikely. In the event that we receive an appeal, it's stated July 31st. So if by September, it says until August 30th to appeal, if there's an appeal filed, I'll let you know. But I sincerely doubt that he appeals to Superior Court.
Okay, and is there any way we could still negotiate something and not spend time to do this?
I suppose negotiated plea is possible at any time.
I'm only asking because just looking at our outright cost, we have to enforce our ordinances, that's a fact. We have the laws in the books that have to be enforced. But at what point do we try to work it out that we're not spending time for?
It's a policy decision that has to be made by council as far as, you know, how far do you want to go to make sure that the ordinances stick and stay when violated.
I mean, it's $10,000 expense, which I'm not saying it would be that, but so that's not something we could discuss now. You're just giving us an update.
It's not, because there's been no appeal filed that I'm aware of. No, attorney's fees aren't going, costs of filing are, but attorney's fees are not. Next matter is the conditional use application for 41 West Wise. Last month we had a hearing, after which the council voted to deny the conditional use application for the proposed retail use in the Wise Street Overlay District. All of you have a copy of the proposed decision. I hadn't heard anything from anyone during the month about any changes to it. The hearing was at the last meeting, or 45 days after the hearing, so we're still within that 45 days. I would suggest, though, that you approve the decision. There's no vote needed because you already voted to deny the use. Does anyone have any questions on the decision itself? So what I suggest you do then is, I'll let Stacy know when she gets back, make arrangements to sign it, or you can sign a final copy of it. Everybody has their copy of it, you can sign a copy of it tonight.
I would like to do that, and I also just like to say, I thought you did a very good job.
The only question I have is regarding 17,
Okay, no
because
question.
not all the neighbors and landowners were notified.
Okay, I guess there was a question about notice, about.
Two that I know.
Right. Okay, I would say that,
That's in your.
And I don't know if it's how important it is, but there's, I think it's important if the landowner with the attached land to his 41 Y Street wasn't notified.
yeah, I mean, I would say, when I say notification was provided by regular mail of the proposed hearing in accordance with the zoning ordinance. However, two property owners present at the hearing claim not to have received notice. Okay. All right, would that satisfy the concern? Okay. Notice was provided. All right. Were there any other questions anyone had? Okay. All right, so, I believe there's a copy up here. I don't have another copy with me, so.
Do you just want to edit it and then send it back to?
I can do that, and then Stacy can come in, yeah, Stacy can, and then everybody can come in and just sign it, as long as it's within the next 5 days or so, we can do it.
So all of us need to come in to sign it?
Yeah.
Or just?
Yes, come in and sign it.
Just sign it on that page. Just attach that.
It doesn't look like it's gonna throw off the pagination. The change is not, but, yeah, it's not gonna throw off the pagination, so you can sign it.
Before everyone leaves.
Yeah, you have a question, Charlotte?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, before you leave, just sign it.
Okay. So let's talk about your feral cats.
The feral cats, yes, all of you were provided with a copy of an ordinance that was adopted by the Borough of Pottsville, the city of Pottsville on feral cats. And that is scheduled for discussion at the October council meeting. Okay, good.
September or
October.
She will be at the October meeting. I do want to talk more to her about possibly running a 10-hour project here in town, maybe someplace. If we can find a building, because you don't want male cats in there that were just neutered. So we gotta figure that out. I want to see if we can do something like that, or have a vet there.
Okay, the manager's report, did everyone receive a copy of this document? Is there anything on here that you have, do you want me to read this out, or is it one copy here? We'll just So giving us an update, I don't know if there's any public need.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing here that's gonna require any official action, it's just an informational item. Yeah, that's just, I mean, it's just a log of what you did during the month. And that's informational, that's not official action, so that's just included in the council packets.
So then we'll move on to committee reports. Environmental Conservation Committee, Carol Cook.
Yes, for source water protection, we have 4 signs now ready to go, and 2 have been posted on, the state roads in Luxor, where there's a phone number to call to protect water quality. You may have seen them around for Topton Borough already. So any place where it would be in danger of, hurting our source water. So next step is getting them on one. And for MS4, I am trying a new source to want to put up new posters around town for this new site. To educate the public, it's all for education. What MS4 is, so that people know not to let oil drip in the street or the road, or how dangerous litter is, or somebody catching runoff water, controlling runoff water. So I want to have ready to post statements, educational, to go on the internet, and also on front posters around town, so it's very with that. I hope to have a class in August, which we've had done the last 2 years, and there was scheduling conflicts. I couldn't get everybody together, so now I'm hoping to try a different tack and see what I can do in September to do for children and for like STEM class. For MS4. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. For personnel and policy, wastewater treatment plant position, we're still looking to hire someone for the wastewater treatment plant. We have not had any applicants that have panned out. There's a part-time seasonal public works labor position that we are trying to hire. We have not had anyone that is qualified, even with minimal skills to take that position. One thing I wanted to ask council is to maybe consider a slightly higher pay rate on that. Maybe that would help attract someone. I think the limit right now is $18 to $20 is the range of pay for that position. Would the council consider a slightly higher wage for this position?
We're almost out of this now.
Well,
Works labor.
almost. The issue is we have somebody who's out with an injury. We're hoping he'll be back at the end of the summer. We are short staffed. I'm sure there's some things that maybe we can talk to Stacy about, but we also have one of our other employees, because of the shortage at our sewer treatment plant, we have another employee that's, we're using his time that he'd normally be at Public Works to address our shortage there. So we may actually need that part-time person longer than just the summer. It would still be a seasonal part-time position.
We also have, leaf pickup starting in the fall. So that'll be.
So there's a bunch of things. I mean, Stacy will have to decide what, timeline she wants to look at hiring, but my concern is that we've gone the last month and a half trying to find someone, and we had somebody who wasn't qualified. So I'm just putting it out there, if the council wants to consider, if we increased it maybe $2 more per hour, that's something we can vote on now, or we can vote.
I'd like to do an executive session and look at what we've done in the past, and the ad that we're running, and see if possibly there could be some changes to that as far as who's applying, and then consider raising it right now, and just getting into budgeting.
I understand, but we
So
also,
I'd like to do an
okay,
executive session.
okay, all right, that's fine, all right, then we'll talk about that further in executive
Yeah,
session.
they're from the personnel matters.
Okay, and so as far as the next topic here is residential water and sewer service policy revision. So we had originally written a policy for our water and sewer services back in or around August 14th of 2023, and there were just a few lines that were added to our existing policy from that date. Stacy added, this was in last month's meeting discussion, she added page 4, there was an addition of line, item C, goes to 1 through 4, we added 4, meter removal fee, because we had a need to put that in the schedule for some circumstances that we went out for. And then also it's mentioned again, down here in section D, number 3, the full payment of any labor and equipment used is based on the current schedule of fees. And on the top of page 5, when the customer requests the installation of the meter and the new account to be billed. So those are the only lines I believe that she added in here to make that provision. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept this, or I'd like someone to make a motion to accept this. I'll make a motion. Thank you, Scott.
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Any other discussion, any questions? Okay, all in favor? Workers' compensation safety policy update.
I had provided to you and to Stacy, a link to the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry that I believe has the forms and policies and safety policy statement that would satisfy any workers' compensation insurer. It appears there are sample policies on this website. So the link is there, and I would encourage you and Stacy. Yeah, I encourage you to look at it. Yes, you can do that, and I printed out a list of forms that it has, and I believe that it has what you may be looking for.
Okay, I will look at this, thank you. And that concludes my report. Streets Committee, Julie.
There's just the one municipal agreement from PennDOT that has to be re-signed, I guess, every 5 years.
Yes.
So the cost for Waste Street and Green Lane would be $1,106. Or no, sorry,
It would be
$1,659.
$1,669.74 per year with a 2% per year escalation. Council received a memo where I outlined the agreement and what is in the agreement.
I guess we don't have any say so, that's true. That's per year, and if we have one of those winters where the guys have to be out there
Well, you do.
10 times.
There is an adjustment for weather emergencies, and there's also an adjustment for unusually severe winters. This is included in the agreement. There would have to be some declaration of it. There's also a possibility of an adjustment if beyond the normal winter season, the equipment has to come out and be used. The season is pretty broad. It's October 15th to April 30th, but think of the 2014 hailstorm. Municipalities had to take snowplows out to remove the hail from the roads. So that was in mid-May. So it was well outside the winter season. But again, I explained it in my memo to council.
So what do we have to do with this? Do we have to?
Nothing yet. I get resolution for discussion of resolution scheduled for approval on September 8th. So September 8th is our next meeting.
Okay, so we should move forward with this. Everyone's good with this?
Well, it looks like for some reason it says September 8th. So in the agenda it says September 8th. So it looks like it's going to be carried over September.
Okay. Okay, the Finance Committee, unless there's anything else, Julie, is there anything else? Finance Committee, Kathy Hasley.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the list of bills and transfers as presented.
Second that. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
That's it.
Community Relations, Committee, Callowhill.
The community report, Scott, did you want to
Yeah, I can.
explain about the car show? Okay.
For the car show, this year we had 119 vehicles. We had some challenges, but the crew I had together that day all chipped in and we got everybody fed. We bought out Dollar General, hot dogs and hamburgers and rolls, but people got fed. Car count might have been down because of weather or not giving awards. And we raised $525 for all.
525?
525.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. And the car show will be, for 2026, will be the third Sunday in July. And also, we had a pretty good turnout for the music afterwards. Even though they were in rain at 3 o'clock, people still showed up.
Saying, good. That's it, thank you. For the 150th anniversary, we are in the process of selling the t-shirts. The first round of t-shirts had to be in by today. And our next meeting will be August 14th, that's this Thursday at 6:30. And everything's going well.
That's in this room?
Yes. And that's it.
Okay. Property Committee, Scott Hart.
Okay, August 1st, Jacob checked on the logging, and they were hoping to finish and start moving their equipment down that week. The ground was still pretty wet, so they have to look at the roads, if anything needs to be repaired. As of the 7th, they seem to have their stuff out, their equipment out. I have to call in with Jacob because we gotta go up there and make a list of things they need to fix before it's totally done. And I haven't heard from them today yet. But all the timber is down, all we need to do is fix anything.
So they're done timbering, it's all down. They were gonna take,
As far as the city house says.
okay, and do we have the totals yet on revenue, that comes later? Okay.
Now, I guess it won't be no totals till we do the walkthrough and then they fix up what they gotta fix up.
Should Long Swamp be with you on the walkthrough since?
Maybe.
Through them?
Jacob just suggested somebody from the borough and him. He didn't mention anything about Long Swamp.
Can we do that separately? There'd be a closeout and a permit. So the logging review with him would be you guys. And the township would be involved in letting you close out the permit.
And since it came up at last month's meeting, I went down to Ken's Bilko and double checked on the spreader, the salt spreader. The one he recommends for us, the price is still the same, $1,206 and $150 for freight. It's in stock, it would just have to be put together, and we need to let them know our exact model, so they could cut down the PTO shaft, so it'll operate properly. But they have them in stock.
So they have to cut the PTO share. Okay.
That's it. Or, Charlie wants to talk about the fence, or
It is. I'm happy to. So, as we've identified for the O'Calley project, we are $39,400 under budget at this point. We have that total remaining. To spend that money, it must be used on stuff that is in the currently approved grant project. Ryan did the search and at the request included benches. The 3 items that we can fit that are in the scope, we could add more trail, but it's not gonna get you a whole lot of trail. Our fencing around the sides of the rain garden that are against the path, it's currently protected by temporary fencing, and we're not talking chain link, we're thinking something more along the lines of a split rail or something like that. It's just to keep people to block the direct path going through it, so it stays as a planted area. And that should be $1,000 or less, or what they need. Additional trees or benches. What we would need from you is some direction as to how, what you're interested in. It has to be done through the contracts with the contractor to fit with the way the grant works. So we then have to go to Phillips, get pricing from them, and we would create a package that deals out the rest of the money from the grant, bring that to you for your September meeting for approval. But we're interested in, do you want to go through that process? You can close it out now. Or do you want to add some of those things, or what's your priorities? The challenge is to change the scope. You got to go back through that whole process we did earlier in the year, and likely the grant agency is going to say, no way, Jose, we're not changing the scope of the grant for you at this point. They can do that, and that would just end rolling. We need to do it fairly fast because Phillips is basically done with the contract that it previously was, so we're trying to, they can say no. They also have the ability to say they were willing to work with us and laid it out, but we can't do that because that extends their warranties, their bonds, all that gets extended if we don't get that contract. So questions, concerns?
So this cost of $2,900 is just your cost to oversee this part. And the rest of that money, the $29,600.
It'd be about $26,500.
Okay, that's where $26,500 is left, and that's enough for, how much of that is the benches, the things?
So the benches, he thought were be 6 to 7. So it depends on how many benches you wanted. The fencing should be less than 1,000.
And trees?
And then the trees we would pick native species of size and variety that complements, and then we clean out the rest of the money. We've got some of those in the contract currently, but trees would be what we would try to fit in to use up the funds.
So it'd be like $16,000 with trees? I mean,
Well, it's, how many benches do you want? Yeah, it would
I mean,
be,
including the 7,000 subtracted off the 26,500.
well, that's per bench.
No, these.
6 to 7,000 per bench?
Yeah, potentially with the installation cost and the cost of the bench work, they gotta be mounted and go through all that process.
Under the regulations, don't these items have to be rebid?
No. You can change order in de minimis, and this would be considered. Especially the trees, which we've already got some of them. So really, the only thing that would have any significant cost that's additional is the bench, the fences, really, so.
We had discussed trees quite a bit before, and suggestions were made, and some changes made, and have all of those been planted?
Everything that was in the project, yes, has been planted.
I don't know if everybody's taking note of what's out there. Trees start off small and then they get really big. I don't know if we even need more trees.
We could plant them elsewhere in the park. They don't have to be just on the trail.
There's nothing else we can really use this for.
No, it's not. That's
So, I mean, it's
the
really,
challenge.
because, I mean, ideally we'd use this money for something else, but we can't.
No.
We don't want to
Just
lose
in
it.
order to make it, so we gotta keep branches and leaves and for workers, it's just more work if it's other places in the park. Once a week, all branches come down.
God made chainsaws.
Would you like us to look at the installation of a couple of benches? How many would, 2, 3?
Sure,
Benches would be really nice.
that would be nice. I actually like that better because we have a very large senior population.
Yes.
And I think it's having seating spaces throughout would be a nice thing.
Make it easier for them to use the path.
And that fence,
So we'll work with Phillips to get fence, benches, and fill out the trees, and get you something as soon as we can. I don't reflect what we use that. That's not good.
Comes with uniform where they're gonna put the trees on, okay? Keyboard.
It will be included because we've got to have that for, so you'll have complete where the stuff would go, what it will entail, to approve that day.
All right, and there was this thing here, I don't see this, was discussed, this, security system for the bathrooms. We have a quote that Stacy has put in.
It's on the agenda, yeah.
Is that, who's that?
Understand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott, I thought this, I didn't see it there. Just saw accounts receivable, Scott. So it's for Scott Hart?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, okay, so.
so to put the system in would be $35.70.
This is for the security system to go on the doors at our public bathrooms because of vandalism leaving them open all the time.
People could come
And
in.
people come in and damage, or we have to keep them locked now, so society cannot use them. And if we wanted to try a access control system where it's locked, the door's locked and you have a particular key that you can swipe to allow you in, these systems.
And the residents would
And have to apply for,
apply for that key.
And it keeps track of who swiped in and what time of day.
everything,
Wednesday, 9 AM, Monday, 9:50, so we get it to me.
in and out.
It's all there first.
Yeah, it keeps everything, these are wonderful.
If you guys were to come in a program key for us, let's say you start charging $5 for the file for the resident who uses the call provider. And you program the name to the key fob, once it's swiped, it will take, the name, the card number, the time, and the key tracker. The only thing is that, unless you have a swipe on the inside, you're not gonna know the credit for it. We would just need for them to get into,
It still doesn't, it still won't tell us
Right,
who did it.
correct.
it won't. That's just sitting here watching the camera around that time, you can kind of coincide together.
Can kind of narrow it down.
Yeah, and you can narrow it down better if you're watching the camera, because you'll have the time frame as to when this person was in there. But you're not gonna get, unless there is a camera inside, which is illegal,
Right.
you're not gonna know specifically who did what when. Unless you're sitting there going, okay, well, somebody went in at 9 o'clock, and you're sitting there physically watching them, and then you go after them and see that they messed up.
In other words, you have 30 people using that restroom in that day, and then finally somebody says it's vandalized, you can't say.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't know if it was number 1, number 15, number 17.
Exactly, unless somebody's.
Unless you're physically sitting.
Daily watching someone go in and go in and out.
I mean, when you got a little bit of it, it's a little bit better, but it's nothing, it's not very much.
With these, we can instruct people that they are responsible for their key and whoever is using their key, and they also will be responsible to inform us if they see anything wrong. And we could hope that they would notify us of that so we could zero in on the bad guys that are harming our public facilities.
Would it be one restroom door or both of them?
Well, it looks like there's an addition, that Jim has an additional fee on here.
It says that.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it's like there's one or both.
And we can also get other estimates. I mean, he does other stuff, I believe. Other security stuff here. This is just information, I don't think we're acting on this, right? We really can't act on anything because we have to go on a budget to see what money we have for necessities of the borough.
I can tell you, I was with Southbury Township on Saturday, including their police chief, and he got a call early on Saturday morning that when the public works crew went out to one of their parks, they found it terribly vandalized. Part of it was off away from the road. So it's not just you guys, other folks are seeing this.
And Scott's not that one.
Water and sewer bills so, water and sewer bills are due on Monday the 25th, and payment claims are available for residents.
Okay. Engineers report.
So, well, we have, as indicated at the last meeting, proceeded with getting a permit through DEP with a water sample from the Borough Fire Company. Thank you. And asking for analysis. So we're on moving ahead on that. The MS4 deadline is fast approaching, so that meeting did occur on the draft report. And so we're getting that ready to go. So we're happy for that. The Washington Street should have that for you in September. We'll award that. That's progressing. The chlorine contact chamber, we did get 2 bids. They are a lot higher than expected. Unfortunately, 2 of the people I went to following up the debrief have been on vacation. So the 2 contractors I got pre-bid pricing from, quotes, they don't bid. So I'm chasing them down in addition. So we hope to have that to you with some recommendations for the next meeting. The sidewalk at M&T Bank, which we discussed, they have engaged an engineer to deal with the structural issues on the sidewalk that is above the culvert. And of course, we talked about the Callowhill Road.
Charlie, is that their engineer?
Yes. We will only review submittal and do normal inspections. They are responsible for all design and outline the concerns. The challenge was that when they did it with the rock handle concrete, pick on the utensil, it hit the structure that did not do any damage. But if it's not done right, then all the weight of the sidewalk will bear on top of the arch. We can't have that. So we're looking at how we're going to prevent that. So it's not going to look like a normal sidewalk underneath the top wall. So
How long do you think till we can get that done?
that's up to their time.
Or is it their crew?
Yeah.
Their engineer?
Yeah. So, yeah, This was another case, so you were aware of work that was started without a permit. If they had come in with a permit before they started the work, we would have told them there's a culvert underneath that part of the sidewalk. So one of the reasons that we have that permit process in is for us to identify areas of concern when we receive the application. They did come in and get a permit after being notified, but there was another one where a permit was not pulled before work was being done.
How would they not know?
Well, here's the
They don't
thing,
need a permit.
Carol, here's the thing, it's not the people down here, it's the people in Buffalo, where the main office is. These, I mean,
But it was noticed, it was complaint came in, most of the time that's what happens. We had an inspector out that notified them, and they were actually already on the way, because, the person who made the complaint, Russell, let them know they were supposed to get a permit, so they were here, we had them here for a while, and they were taking that permit.
Would you review whatever design their engineer comes up with before the work?
Yes, that's part of the permit process, is they have to submit what they're planning to do, we review it for compliance. And then they can go.
Anything else, Charlie?
Nope, that would be it.
Let's move to old business. Newtown Heroes update.
I gotta talk with Stacy. When I come back from vacation, I gotta talk with Stacy, because there's an issue on one matter that we haven't received. I talked to Trinda, she said Stacy has the update, she didn't know what was all involved, so I'll talk with Stacy when I come back from vacation.
Topton Borough Preservation Board.
I had no meeting this past month and there was no report.
Okay. So before adjournment, is there anything else anyone would like to briefly state? Okay, then I want to ask council, do we want to have a brief executive session to discuss personnel matters right now? Just for a few minutes, no actions will be taken, just while we're all together here, I'm thinking 5 minutes, not long. For that one personnel issue, hourly rate. Is that- No, this isn't gonna be that, this is just one issue. And, anyway,
So I move the adjourned recess.
okay, so we'll recess for executive session, come back and then we'll adjourn. After that, but there's no decisions to be made. So thank you. What's that?
You made a motion to recess. Who seconded it? The second. Okay.
So,